Hello and welcome to the season finale of Season 2 of the Sim Racing Collective Rookie Series. So far, we've had 4 different winners from 4 different races. Over the course of the past month, we've been to Misano, Spa-Francorchamps, Watkins Glen, and last week, Brands Hatch, here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, that was opened just over 3 decades ago on the 10th of September. We will see who will become our Season 2 champion. And firstly, a big welcome to everyone watching on the JP Broadcasting Network, because you join myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and I'm going to introduce the Flying Dutchman himself of commentary. It's Mr. Dan Pepels. Dan, good evening, buddy. Well, it has been an interesting season, and we've got one more race to go.
One last dance here at the circuit, the Barcelona Catalunya. I'm looking forward to it. I love this track just because it has all aspects of racing, really. It has fast corners, it has slow corners. Think about that last sector, full of them. So yeah, this is really a track that, if I just want to have a calm drive and just want to drive about, just clear my head in a sim, this is the track I come to.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. It's got some nice technical parts. It's fast in multiple sections and a very, very long start-finish straight. So far, we've had Lunatic Braga, Nicolas Pierrin, Stuart Pryor, and Adrien Ousselin, who have been the 4 different winners so far. The top 5 coming into this season finale. Results are still provisional pending the outcome of Brands Hatch, but we are taking it as it is at the moment. That Lunatic Braga leads the way on 99 points. We are underway with qualifying as we speak. Nicolas Pierrin on 94. Stuart Pryor, who's taken a first at Watkins Glen and a second last time out at Brands Hatch. There is the number 63. He's third in the championship standings on 93 points. Then Kevin Deracourt, who I do not see on the server this evening. So it could be that we end up having a 4-way scrap for the title, because Adrien Ousselin, who's hit the podium twice, third at Spa on the 31st of May and just 1 week ago at Brands Hatch, he took the victory in what was one of the most drama-filled races. I think is probably the best way, politically correctly, that I could say that, Dan.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It was a bit of a free for all, as we like to call it. Our debrief afterwards was really simple. No words, really. But what I want to point on is the fact that we have 11 drivers. So even if you do finish this race in 11th, you would still pick up 20 points. So vital for all of those drivers in the top 5 covered by 15 points. Important that you at least finish this race. Of course, the winner gets 15 points. And that's exactly the gap that, this championship is covered by at the moment in the top 5. So all up for grabs.
Yeah, I've done some calculating before this, and they do say sometimes don't trust a commentator's maths. Well, you're going to have to bear with me on this. First of all, we can actually eliminate Kevin Deracourt, who's decided to sign out of this one as Garcin Werner goes P2. Stuart Pryor sets the benchmark of a 1:45.545. So if Lunatic Braga, the 48 from Austria, in the Lamborghini, he wins, no one can take that title away. Nicolas Pierrin, if he wins and Braga is third, Pierrin is the champion based on countback. Now, this is not taking into consideration the additional point for fastest lap. So I'm looking at just with the points as we see them. Stuart Pryor, if he wins, Pierrin is second, Braga's third, Pryor takes the title. Ousselin is an outside bet, but we have seen this driver. Okay, he's not had the best amount of results, let's be completely truthful here, as Laurent Laferle goes across the line. Goes P4 in the number 5 BMW M4 GT3 on a 1:46.612. It's really, really tough to see who's going to come out on top on this one, Dan. And for very, very good reason, because from first down to 11th, there is a spread of 15 points, as you alluded to earlier. whereby that is what covers the top 5. So effectively, we're going to now say, well, Kevin Derricourt will finish pretty much on 90 points or whatever it might be, depending on his previous scores in the opening 4 races. But you know what? I'd love for Stuart Pryor. You know, Stuart Pryor didn't have a great start to the season, but that Aston Martin has really come on strong. He's second at the moment behind Lunatic Braga, who's like nearly 1.1 seconds quicker. I think that Stuart Pryor could really, really upset the apple cart tonight.
I mean, I don't know if you still remember, for the people that don't, go and have a look back at that first race, where I tipped this man as you know, one to look out for the championship, because this Aston Martin is not the quickest overall, but it is by a mile in this field the most consistent car to drive in, and that has shown again, because if you look at the results, of course, 5th in round number 1, 1st in round number 3, and 2nd in round number 4. He's just been there all the time, and he's been consistently performing.
Yeah, very true. He has not placed outside of the top 6 once. That just shows the run of consistency. He's currently P3 because Nicolas Pierrat has gone second on a 1 minute 44.477, but Lunatic Braga's gone under the 144s, 143.982. Here is Garcin Iverna in the number 33 Porsche, and he is currently 11th in the standings. So we have got the likes of Simon Gagansky. Craig Hewlett is in this. He's 9th at the moment. Freddie Coleman Evans not also here in the Salt McLaren, as we are just coming up to 8 minutes to go. Air temperature 23 degrees Celsius, track temperature 28 degrees Celsius as we ride on board with the number 33 as he comes out of the 16th and final corner down this long start-finish straight, and he's already hitting north of 140, 150 miles an hour.
Something that I didn't expect there was that he could clatter that curb on the outsides of turn 15. It is, the exit there is so important, but I did not expect that they could just drive over that curb as easy as they did.
Yeah, he was hitting the best part of 255 kph on the start-finish straight. Laurent Laferla, he's been a little bit up and down. Actually, to be completely honest, has also had a very, very consistent season. 4th place finish at Watkins Glen, his best result of the season. 6th at the season opener at Misano. 8th at Brands Hatch. Rounded out the top 10 at Spa-Francorchamps, so the BMW might have a good bit of pace, but he's 2.6 seconds down. Makes that now 1.9 seconds with a 1:45.907. But Lunatic Braga is just calmly doing what he needs to do, which is to put it on pole position. But remember what happened last time, folks, when we were at the Garden of England at Brands Hatch. He was down and possibly out for the count. Now he's got that opportunity that if he finishes first or second, no one can touch him. If he locks out, if he takes pole, Pierrat goes and wins, it's going to do absolutely nothing for the championship. Because looking at it from that perspective, if Pierrat gets 35 plus gets the fastest lap, that's 36 points. Braga gets second, that's 32. That's 131 points to 130. So I've got a little bit of a calculation sorted out to help me out with regards to making sure that my maths are not wrong this evening, Dan, and that will be quite a big help for us tonight.
For sure, because there's going to be a lot of calculating throughout the race. Things are going to be changing left, right, and center. So it won't be easy behind the scenes, but you know, it never is. We don't need a championship battle for it to, you know, be hard here in the commentary booth, because last time it was hard to just keep up with the action that was happening on track, to be honest. Afterwards, I said to Alex, well, that was fun. I talked a lot, of course, being sarcastic, but there just was no time for Alex to at some point just switch it. There was so much action And if you stop talking for a second, you miss 2 or 3 overtakes or something happening out on track. So let's hope for more of the same here, but more of the good kind.
Yeah, we can actually pass over to Dan because we've got 11 cars on the grid. Every single one of them, apart from Adrien Ousselin, has yet to set a lap time. But Lunatic Braga, 1 minute 43.982. Stu Pryor's done pretty well in that Aston Martin. I mean, a 145.2. We know for a fact, Dan, that qualifying is.
Hey, that's not the way.
Mr. Werner decides to yeet it over the sausage curbs, going through into turns 14.
There we go. There's the yeet again, ladies and gentlemen. We've had one for qualifying.
Well, all I'm going to blame is Mr. David Christie is the first one that has tried to get me to say yeet in at least every single broadcast.
Has it happened though?
When he's
I think
been
Watkins
on.
Glen, you missed it. I watched it back. You missed it.
Oh well. Well, the thing was, I hardly drew breath for that race.
Yes.
If I remember correctly. So it does go to show that us commentators, if you have 2 people that know each other very, very well, like myself and Dan do, it's more a case of if you've got to just sometimes go with the flow. And that's another thing that we haven't really talked about. I mean, the good thing is we've got 2 Aston Martins on the grid. I mean, Adam Brown, let's look at his results. I mean, he's currently 15th in the championship standings on 57 points. But the last 2 races at Spa-Francorchamps, at Watkins Glen and Brands Hatch, he's finished in the top 10 in both races. 18th at Misano, 17th at Spa, then his best result of the season so far at Watkins Glen, finishing 9th. He was running close to the top 5 at one point.
And gets into the top 9 as well in qualifying it.
Oh, nice. Very nice. But yeah, I think he'll be able to, if he can make a couple of places up on likes of Darren Williams and Nikita Ronin. I mean, Ronin is ahead of Brown, who's now running at the top 10. And Garson Werner decides not to wallop the sausage curbs and send the 992 GT3R up into the air. He'll be fine. Currently P4 at the moment. Goes across the line. Is there an improvement from Werner? A slight improvement. 144.710. But nevertheless, though, Dan, just under 7.5 tenths cover the top 4.
Now look how close that is for P2 and P3. There's 23 thousandths of a second between those 2 drivers, and I think that's what we've seen so far this whole season, especially between those old school racing teammates, drivers. It's been so close between them, and I think having that as a team is something so powerful because you can go off setups with each other. Of course, if you're driving in different cars, like we see here, the BMW slotting in behind the Porsche, then that's less so. But if you drive the same cars, you're on the same pace and you kind of have the same driving style. There's nothing better than that in a team.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be a help, but as we have found out this season, it can also be. It really has, and I feel sorry for the likes of Kevin Delacour that have been there or thereabouts, and there have been incidents that have just caused problems as we go into the final 60 seconds. Nicolas Pierrin goes to within 0.12 of a second. Adrien Ousselin closes in again as well. So both Porsches in the low 1 minute 44s. There's Darren Williams. He's improved in the meantime up to P7. So he's making his way down in towards turn number 10, the left-hander here. It's 2.3 seconds off. He's had a bit of an interesting season as well. Hasn't placed outside of the top 12 once. His worst result, funnily enough, was round 2 at Spa-Francorchamps. But he's had 2 ninth place finishes. One at Misano, one at Brands Hatch. And it was 11th at Watkins Glen, as we've got a yellow flag out onto the circuit that has just been retracted. But Lunatic Braga setting that lap time very, very early indeed. We're going to see if there is an improvement from Darren Williams as he comes out of turn number 17. Just 5 of the 11 cars out on the circuit as we speak. Is he going to improve on that particular occasion? Yes, he does. That was a 1:46.217. Timer hit 0. And we'll have just a couple of moments whilst we wait for the remainder of drivers. There's Valentin David going through out of turn 3. Now heading into the right at turn 4. Looks like everyone might be returning to garage, including Laurent Lefebvre going through turn number 13. Let's run on board with Valentin David going through into the left-hander here at turn number 4. Well, he's a little bit further down the circuit. He's coming through turn 5 into turn 6. Lefebvre is about to complete his final flying lap. He's about to cross the stripe. Oh no, returns to garage. But Valentin David currently 9th at the moment, 1:47.395. We do have to say a very, very big thank you to TrackTitan.io that have been helping sponsor and partner with this series for season 2, and they've got a tool that has, throughout the course of the season, been assisting the drivers with their performance through automated insights, and it's also important to help their skills. And for every single lap that they complete using the tool from TrackTitan.io, they will be basically rewarding the drivers. Valentin David coming through out of turns 14 and 15. Currently P9 still at the moment. I don't think that this is going to be an improvement, but what this means is he gets a bit tail happy coming out of turn number 16. There we go. And that is that. So what does this mean in terms of where the drivers start? Lunatic Braga starts from pole position. Nicolas Pierrat starts from 2nd. Stuart Pryor starts 5th. And then Kevin Dericourt, we won't put in. Adrien Ousselin starts 3rd. So based on how the provisional, like the virtual championship standings as they are at the moment, Lunatic Braga on 134, Nicolas Pierrat 126, Stuart Pryor 119, and Adrien Ousselin. Now this is based on where they are at the moment, because we are going to get a 30-minute race with a mandatory pit stop. Pit stop window will open with 10 minutes of the race completed, and then we'll close with 10 minutes until the checker. There'll be an additional lap. Mandatory refueling time of 25 seconds. Tyres are not optional. So already, at this point, Dan, Lunatic Braga has done one step forward. So he can say that, yes, I've pretty much got one hand on that trophy, but I want to get both on them.
He got into this race with already one finger on the trophy. The thing he needed to do to get that full hand on the trophy and already have a strong hand on it was get that pole position, especially with the field that is a little bit smaller for today. So that pole position is going to mean a lot for the Lamborghini. However, he has those 3 Porsches behind him, and if we know one thing from how the season so far has gone, is that none of them will take it easy down in the turn 1, and Lunatic himself is also not immune to a mistake.
Well, all I'm going to say is the old school is strong in numbers behind our pole sitter. We're just coming up to 50 seconds to go before we take a full formation lap around the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Originally known when it opened back on the 10th of September 1991, just under 32 years ago, the Circuit de Catalunya. It's hosted Formula 1, MotoGP, World Superbikes, the European Le Mans Series. Also hosts a round of the Fanatec GT World Challenge powered by AWS, the International GT Open, FIA F2, F3, Formula Regional Championship, European Championship by Alpine. And
at this point, what hasn't it hosted?
What hasn't it hosted? There's a list. It doesn't host FIA World Rallycross anymore. W Series, DTM, European Truck Racing, Formula. If anyone might remember, World Series by Renault.
Yes.
But the current race lap record around this circuit, we're going to be about 25 seconds off of what Max Verstappen did just this year in the RB19, 1:16.330. 14 turns, even though it says 16 on our track map. 4.657 kilometers, 2.894 miles. We've got 30 minutes plus an additional lap of racing ahead of us here, Dan. What are you expecting to transpire?
Well, what I'm expecting is, for once, because I've said this about 3 times already here, Alex, is that I hope for once that Lunatic, if he is in the lead, is actually going to do what I say, and that is pit as late as possible. Because what he doesn't want to do is, with this limited traffic that is here, is pit early, put himself behind a Adam Brown and lose about 3-4 seconds, 3-4 very valuable seconds with the 69 of Pierre Nicolas behind him. So I hope that we're finally going to see that strategy work out. Pit late in that pit stop window that we have, and maybe some others just take a risk and go early.
Yeah, that's going to be the key point here. It's about what Lunatic Braga does. Does he keep a cool and calm head and not crack under the pressure of the 3 old school Porsches behind him? So Lunatic Braga will start from pole position. Alongside him will be the number 69 of Nicolas Pierhat. And they are 5 points apart coming into this 5th and final round of the Sim Racing Collective Rookie Series, season number 2. Adrien Ouslat, one of 4 different race winners, starts 3rd. Alongside him will be Gaston Werner. Gaston Werner has not, well, his best result so far this season was 5th at Spa-Francorchamps at round 2 on the 31st of May. Stuart Pryor, a victory and a 2nd this season so far over the last 2 rounds, and has not placed out of the top 6. He is the dark horse that we both have said could be one to watch tonight. Laurent Laferle, Darren Williams, Craig Hewlett, Valentin David, Nikita Ronin, Adam Brown. That rounds out your grid. Well, hang on a second. Valentin David is actually stuck in the pit lane. So Ronin and Brown will round out the top 10. So David will be released after we get the start. I was going to say, did he disconnect from the server possibly? Or didn't hit the button in order to join everybody on the rolling start? That can happen. And that, folks,
for me, it says he's actually stuck on the grid. He's actually on the grid on my timing screen, and not in pit lane.
Okay, well, we're going to see what happens over the next 30 minutes plus an additional lap as Lunatic Braga and Nicolas Pierhat will go into battle with the likes of Stuart Pryor and André Ouslat through the final corner. 30 minutes on the timer. The 5th and final round of Season 2 of the Sim Racing Collective Rookie Series is about to get underway here in Catalonia. Braga, Pierhat wait with bated breath. Green flag waves. We're underway on the long run down to turn number 1. Lunatic Braga has already gotten a little bit of an advantage. Gaston Werner looking to try and get towards the inside. Braga sweeps to the outside. Werner up the inside through turn 1 into the left-hander here at turn 2. Stuart Pryor already making his way past André Ouslat. As, oh my goodness, that is not what I expected. Ouslat is actually up the inside through out of turn number 3, and he's got the race lead from Lunatic Braga. There is Nicolas Pierhat looking up the inside of the number 48 through into turn 4. The Lamborghini runs wide, and now Pierhat, I think, might have just gotten the lead. He has done as they go into turn 5. Great opening exchange, and Stuart Pryor is there, and I'm in the ringside seat. That's absolutely brilliant. However, we've had an incident between Craig Hewlett and Adam Brown early doors, but a great start. Oh no! Is that Ouslat? Ouslat's off the circuit. Oh my goodness me, and he's dropped down the order like a stone. But you know what, Dan? That was the cleanest start we have had, I think, all season.
Well, that's a good thing. Luckily for us, Valentin David was not stuck on the circuit, but was actually in pit lane. So that was a mistake on my timing screen. Luckily for us, because if he would have been there, that would have been a bit of chaos, and the drivers would have needed to avoid him. However, a clean start. Less so though for Adrien Ouslat, because he's dropped down to P6 and he's got his work cut out for him now. However, Braga was for, I think, about 10-15 seconds in a position where he wasn't winning the championship anymore.
Yeah, at the moment, he is currently in second place, which will be enough to give him the title. At the moment, considering the fact that the fastest driver on the road is going to be the number 69 of Nicolas Pierrat, as Adrien Ousselin looking up the inside of Darren Williams. That's the battle for P5. Ousselin gets through, and that puts him back onto a virtual championship score of 110 points. Pierrat at this minute with 36 points, because he's just done the fastest lap of this race. Well, he's done the fastest lap of this race. 1:31 plays 1:30. So Braga is exactly where he needs to be. If he stays where he is, he's fine. If he drops down to third, it's game over for the Austrian. Gustave Werner battling away with Craig Hewlett, and this is for 7th on the road. So Gustave Werner in the number 33 old school 992 GT3 Porsche, getting through on the number 4 BMW M4 in that lovely deep metallic purple. But at the moment, Nicolas Pierrat, with 3 minutes completed, has got Lunatic Braga right on his case. And you know what? This fight is going to go down to the wire. Keep your eyes on Stuart Pryor, folks, as there we see Adrien Ousselin up the inside of Laurent Lefebvre, and that will be a move up to P5, putting him on 110 points in this championship. But it's still nip and tuck between the two leaders.
Well, something different to what we're used to from the last couple of weeks with the GTs and Formula 1 is, of course, that we don't take the chicane turn 14 and 15. I think, personally, in my eyes, Alex, it does ruin the racing a bit because the run is a bit worse. However, Braga doesn't care about that, goes up the insides of Pierrot Nicolas, and he makes it stick. That's back up into P1. The championship is back in his hands. Of course, it was in P2, but everything is in his own hands now. If he gets overtaken by Nicolas, of course, it's back in Nicolas's hands what he can do with it. Where is Braga going to end up?
Yeah, that has now been a bit of a change because of also the fact that we just had another driver set the fastest lap of the race. The driver in 4th position, Adrien Ousselin, has just put in. He's on a mission, 1 minute 44.852. So that puts Braga 1:34. Plays Pierrat 1:26. Nicolas Pierrat needs a miracle right about now to happen. But you know what? Lunatic Braga, as Dan alluded to a little bit earlier on, is not prone, is also prone to the odd mistake or two. This is why it's called the Rookie Series. It's to help drivers develop, help drivers learn. And at this particular point in the championship, where a title is up for grabs, Adam Brown really getting stuck in this three-way battle between him, Nikita Ronin, and Craig Hewlett. This is for P8 as they're going into turn number 10. Hewlett pins it round the outside. Aston gets the better traction out of the corner through turn number 11 and into turn 12. So Craig Hewlett's going to try for the crisscross. But still, I mean, that gap between Lunatic Braga and Nicolas Pierrat is starting to expand. We've got 4 minutes and 40 till the pit stop window opens. Oh, Laurent Lefebvre has just taken a bit of a spin at turns 14 and 15 at the chicane, and then he rejoins in the path of Adam Brown. So that drops the BMW down to 9th.
Not exactly the last couple of corners that he was hoping for. However, is behind Adam Brown now and start chasing down the Ferrari ahead of that. Once he gets past, however, catching up is one thing, overtaking is another, and it doesn't matter if a driver is 5 seconds, a second, 2 tenths slower. If you are putting the car in the right position, Alex, that is making it difficult or almost impossible for the other driver to overtake, then it's going to be difficult for you to get past.
Completely agree with you there, Dan. But Lunatic Braga has also picked up the fastest lap, so championship, virtually speaking, Lunatic Braga 1:35. Nicolas
There's the mistake though. Adam Brown off the track. BMW up is inside and back down to P9. Sorry, continue.
So with Lunatic Braga taking the fastest lap of the race, there was a little bit of afters. So Adam Brown right into the back bumper of Craig Hewlett as they make their way over the crest. They're going through into turn number 9. Brown kept it pinned on the racing line, stays ahead, so there's been a little bit of paint swapping between the two of them. You know, I mean, it's the last race of the season. You've got to have a little bit of pride. You've got to have a little bit of bragging rights. And I know for a fact that Adam Brown will want to be a little bit further upfield. He knows that he's got an opportunity of a possible top 5 finish, but based on the top half of this field, that may be easier said than done. So Lunatic Braga has got the fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 44.387. That puts him on 1:35. Nicolas Pierhat needs, as I said, a miracle right now as Craig Hewlett looks up the inside through turn number 16, gets through on Adam Brown. That's a positional change for 8th. And now Laurent Laferle looking towards the outside on this long start-finish straight. They're pushing over 250 kbh heading into turn 1. Hewlett goes wide into T1. Laferle up the inside of Brown, takes 9th away from the number 54. Great dueling and dicing between this trio right here, Dan.
Well, this is what you love to see, especially at the last race of the season. Here's another one. Stuart Pryor is trying to re-overtake Usla. Something that, of course, at the beginning of this race, you wouldn't have said. Of course, he was way up the order. Has fought himself back up to P3, but a man on a mission, a man possessed, a man who knows what he wants. But, well, he's made it 10 times harder for himself with that little bit of a mistake on the first lap. Next target on his list is Pierre-Nicolas.
I think there may be a little bit of a team game orchestration here. And the reason why I say that is that Uslan knows he's got an outside chance, okay? If he can take the fastest lap away from Braga, then that's 1 less point for the Austrian to score. We should put it back to 134, plays 126. But Pierhat needs Braga to finish 3rd or lower. Now, it just depends. We've seen it over the course of multiple different ACC leagues. Here on the rookie series for TSRC is no different. We have seen people caught out by the pit lane speed limiter, which, what is it here? 50 kph like it is on every single racetrack on Assetto Corsa Competizione. So the pressure is still on to make sure those mistakes don't happen, Dan. And that is one thing you don't want to have, which is to stop go 30. A good move here from Garson Werner through turn 2 on Darren Williams to take back P5, but that pit stop has got to be absolutely perfect for this final round.
It wouldn't be the first time we see someone caught out by a pit lane speeding penalty. So easy to get. And it doesn't matter, in fact, if you are 30 kph over the limit or 1 kilometer. Even 0.1 kilometer over the limit, that penalty will be awaiting you once you exit pit lane.
Yeah, as now we see Craig Hewlett go toe-to-toe, mano-a-mano with Nikita Ronin in the number 15 Ferrari into what will be the run down into turn number 7. Hewlett straight up the inside without any hesitation whatsoever to get through on the 488 GT3. And Laurent Laferle not too far behind the number 15, the sole Ferrari on this grid as they make their way down towards turn 10 La Casa. The pit stop window has been open for just under 30 seconds. Adam Brown looks up the inside of Nikita Ronin to get through. And the number 15 drops another position. Waiting to see who is going to pit first. So for those wondering, those uninitiated ACC individuals, Nicolas Pierhat has already pitted early. So he's trying to get the undercut. He's trying to do the big undercut.
Oh, mistake from the BMW there. Has to cut chicane.
That was great.
Not ideal.
Yeah, that was great Hewlett. Nikita Ronin now jumps into pit lane as well. So I think Pierhat is going to make sure that that car is on absolute rails. We're coming up to, just over 11 minutes completed. So 2 drivers have come into the pits out of 11. I think the biggest question here, Dan, is how long is it going to be before Lunatic Braga pulls the trigger, gets into pit lane, and tries to get that undercut from Nicolas Pierhat literally out of the way?
I don't think he has to worry as much as we think he has to. That's a bit of a mistake from Brown. Gets away with it though. Just dump 2 tyres onto the grass on the left-hand side is fine though. But I think he doesn't need to worry as much as we think he has to. He had that gap of about 3 seconds, so he should be absolutely fine by pitting at the end of the pit stop window. We're going to see where he's going to come back, of course, to the back of the field, all the way to the back of the field. It's a 10-second gap, so for Ludovic Braga, that would mean that he would come back right behind Valentine David. So of course he still has to make his pit stop. We know, but if he waits till the end of the pit stop window, that is about another 6 minutes that he has to. Well, he's probably stuck behind him, and that is going to give Adrian Ousla the perfect opportunity to overcut him. Because don't forget, it's not only the undercut that's sometimes powerful, but if you get stuck in traffic, the overcut could be the way to go.
Yeah. Hang on a second. Nicolas Pierhat has done his pit stop, but it hasn't registered. Has there been an issue? Has there been an issue for the number 69?
Did he come in too early? Did he cross that pit entry line? I'm questioning before the timer hits 19:59, which means that the pit stop window is open. This could be a real thing, you know, and he's back into pit lane, so it is indeed the case.
That has thrown everything out the window. That really a part of the pun, because we've got the pit window open for another 6 minutes and 40 seconds. But that has thrown away the opportunity for Nicolas Pierhat to win the title, unless, as I said earlier, that number 69 Porsche needs a miracle, an absolute miracle. It's just going to be absolutely crazy to see what happens over the next 16 minutes, because by my reckoning, folks, okay, get this, Nicolas Pierhat would get, by finishing 10th, would get 21 points. That puts him on 115. Ludovic Braga still has the fastest lap of the race, puts him on 135. Nicolas Pierhat is leaving, and he's 11th. Oh, you know what that means? Adrien Ousla could actually beat him, and he's got to stop, go 30! It goes from bad to worse, and he stopped at the end of the pit lane. That's it. Pierhat is out. Pierhat is out of the title battle. And you know what this means, folks? Stuart Pryor is now at the moment P3. He is on 123 points, 12 behind Braga Ousla.
He would get P2.
He would get P2 in the standings. That would be three successive podiums on the trot. A second, a first, and a third, and would put him second in the championship.
It's not over yet, though. It's not over yet. We're counting at the moment, and everything's staying like it is, but Stewart has to still make his pit stop. Ousla still has. Ludovic Braga still has. And we've seen it happen. And Pierre Nicolas is not the only one who can make that mistake. The rest can too. That stop go 30 is a real possibility, but with no risk at the moment going into pit lane, you would be crazy if you were Ludovic Braga and absolutely push that pit lane entry.
Yeah, he's got to be under that pit speed limit, 100%. If he gets close to 50, he could be getting a bit of a squeaky bum time moment, but he's not going to do it right now. He's probably got another, I would say another 2 laps before he needs to bring that into pit lane. If he runs for another 2 laps, he's going to be fine. But he's got to be on his A game, 100%, when it comes to the pit stop. So that just goes to show how much it means to being on point. Adrien Ousla is now in the pit lane. So Stuart Pryor is now in 2nd position. Just goes to show how quickly a race turn on its head. So Stuart Pryor, that puts him on 125 points. Ousla currently P3, that puts him on 114. And yeah, I mean, I think Nicolas Pierhat, it was like first pit stop didn't work, second pit stop he gets an SG30, and he's just gone, there's no point me battling onward. But I would have loved to have seen him come back and try his absolute damnedest to get one up.
Well, the issue is, he's not going to get scored now. So he's going to stay on the points that he has. I don't think with the amount of laps that he has completed that he can be scored. He's not going to finish this race. He's not going to see the checkered flag. So that means that so many people also, you know, in the championship will jump him. And it's not only that second place that he needs to get a hold of, or that he wanted to improve to first place. Just keeping hold of as much as you can. And if he would have, even if he would have finished last, and that means in this case finishing 11th, he would have gotten 20 points into the pit lane. There we go. Very nice and safe for Lunatic Braga. I think he almost went down to about 20 kph there going into pit lane.
I think you're pretty much spot on. So he now is in the pit lane. Stuart Pryor now inherits the race lead, but Stuart has yet to pit, so he's going to do one more lap and come in. I think Valentin David's had a pretty good run. He's made his way up to 4th place. So it does just go to show how much, as we say, this is where it just gets incredibly tight and there's pressure to perform. There's also that opportunity where you can drop a bit of a clanger. That's what we've seen with Nicolas Pierhat. It can happen, but Braga has made his pit stop. It's just all about how he just calmly goes about his business for the next 11 minutes and 20 seconds. He's got nothing to worry about now.
Easier said than done though. Both Juan and David are also into the pit lane. Only this man, Stuart Pryor, in this Aston Martin, leading the way at the moment, still has to make that pit stop. Left it till the last minute of the pit window. Has to come in now though. If he goes past pit lane now, then I'm a bit worried for his chances on taking P2. He's in a really good position at the moment. He's gone for the ultimate overcut. So yeah, looking forward to see how this is going to work out come pit exit for Stuart Pryor. There we go. Will we see him pull on to the right hand side? We will. And into pit lane goes that number 63 Aston Martin for his one and only pit stop in this race. We hope. If not, then there are some more significant issues.
Yeah, Valentin David at the moment, the number 19. Oh, he's going to miss the pit window. Valentin David has not made a pit stop. That is a quote-unquote a rookie mistake because he's only coming out of turn number 5. He has absolutely made a pig's ear of it. And he is going to get the maximum penalty post-race of 130 seconds. Pit stop window is closed. Valentin David is going to get a massive penalty post-race. He's got, I think that is Gosselin Werner right behind him. And Darren Williams is just ahead of the number 19.
Now listen up here. Stuart Pryor technically was in pit lane, but hadn't made his pit stop yet. One of the requirements, if you are making a pit stop, I know, is that it has to be done within the pit stop window. Now he's gonna go to pit exit now, and it looks all to be fine, but for a second there I thought that there might have been a penalty in the books as well for Stuart Pryor. Luckily though, all looks fine.
Yeah, you've got to be in the pit box within that 10 minutes. You've got to be in there with it. As Valentin David, he's going to get a massive penalty. That's going to drop him right to the back end of the field. That's not how Valentin David would have wanted to end up with this race. So he's probably going to get something on his heads-up display. There's a touch between it. Oh, dearie me. Gosselin Werner and Valentin David make contact. It's not going to make any difference for Gosselin Werner, but Valentin David, with 8 minutes and 45, is the only driver that has yet to do a pit stop. It's the only point in this race that has transpired. You know what? He'll probably look at it and go,
Gosselin Werner off the track. That has allowed, I think, David back through. So a mistake there, going through turn 4. But yeah, continue. Excuse me.
Hey, no worries. You don't need to apologise to me, Mr. Pebbles. You know that. You need to jump over. Well, jump over, like literally jump in. It's not a problem. Yeah. The thing is that Gaston Werner doesn't really need to push the envelope with Valentin David because he knows that there will be a penalty coming his way, because everyone will see on their heads-up display. If anyone's seen any of the streams from, like, say, Niels Noyox, Jardier, Jimmy Broadbent, Valentin Barrier, for instance, some of the big names, George Boothby, amongst others, they will have relatives and positions, and then they'll go like, well, he's got a penalty coming. I don't need to race him. My race is not against him. But with 7.5 minutes to go, Valentin David is just carrying on obliviously, and will probably realise, I have made the biggest of all faux pas, the big F in chat for the number 19.
Now, I couldn't help but notice you did not name my idol of lean in this ACC community, who's also, of course, a content creator. The Mister of Lean, usually leaning about 50 million degrees in his sim rig, Dolking. Mate.
Oh, Darren King? Yeah,
yes.
I've known Darren for years. But the thing is, I don't want to keep on listing things, because I'll just go on at a tangent. You know what I'm like.
Oh, yes, I do. I do. And you know what Gaston Werner is like? Just slams it up the inside of Valentin David. Gets that position. That's the overtake he was waiting for, but trying to return the favour there in the background was David. Not working out though, luckily, because I think that would have been a dive from about 5/10s back.
Probably from another district in Spain, not too far outside of Catalonia. Maybe the Asturias where Fernando Alonso's from. But with 6 minutes and 15 to go, Lunatic Braga is doing exactly what he needs to do. He's 6.7 seconds ahead of Adrien Uslan. Uslan currently on 116 points with the way that the championship is working out so far. But Lunatic Braga knew that he had to have a measured, calm, and very much unobstructed race. And once we saw the double, well, the you know what they say about lightning striking twice? Well, it struck twice for Nicolas Pierhat. Going into the pits, not able to effect his pit stop, goes in for a second time, gets a stop, go 30, and there is the number 69's title. Chances thrown to the wolves, so to speak. Gaston Werner showing his 5th now, closing in on Darren Williams, who is set for his best result of the season, as he's currently in P4. Gaston Werner just under 7/10 of a second behind, and on the previous lap was 2.1 seconds quicker. Laurent Lafeurle gets through on Valentin David, who probably might have just realised, I've done my pit stop faux pas. I need to let everyone go. Yeah, I need to let everyone go through. I think he's just realised, and he's just gone, oh well, I've got 5 minutes to go. Let's just see what happens at the end of it all.
There's no point fighting at this point. You might as well save the time. Gaston Werner goes up to P4, but Williams is strucken, and that is in turn 5. Contact between the two. Well, a bit too eager to get past, I would say there.
No room at the end. No, Laurent Lafeurle's off. Lafeurle's off and hard into the barriers. Oh, dearie me. At least he's got enough room to rejoin, but don't rejoin into the path of the drivers coming along at that rate of knots. Oh, dearie me. And that was coming out of turn 7. Like, he decided to do a UE, and then Adam Brown and Craig Hewlett, who are battling like tooth and nail over 7th position now, nearly had the redress of all redresses, courtesy of Laurent Lafeurle, who nearly went into the path of both of them and managed to sort of go, right, I'm not going too far over to the left, but nearly gave us both palpitations here in the commentary box.
Well, indeed. Indeed, however, this is a battle. This is Hewlett up the inside of Brown. Makes it stick. Is Brown still there? It looks like it from the fact that he gave him room. That was 1 move and a half there if he pulled that off, but Brown, stellar defending.
Yeah, 100%, but Hewlett's going to get the slipstream coming down the long start finish straight. That just goes to show how powerful that slipstream is around this particular circuit. Going through into turn 1, the BMW a little bit later on the brakes, through into the left here at turn 2, and then round the right-hand sweeper here at 3. So just under 3/10, not even 3/10. Adam Brown's going to run a little bit wide, coming out of turn 3 on the run to turn 4, but he keeps it pinned on the racing line. Craig Hewlett looking to get through, as Lunatic Braga at this moment is making his way down through turns 14 and 15. This is going to be one to remember for a multitude of reasons. High title drama up until the final race, with Nicolas Pierrat retiring on lap number 7. 2 more laps to go as the leader crossed the line about 10 seconds. 10 seconds ago at the 2 minutes and 40 to go. So we're on to the penultimate lap of this season 2 finale. Round 5 out of 5 here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya in Montmello. But yeah, Adam Brown doing a really good job just keeping Craig Hewlett at bay here, Dan. Absolutely brilliant from the number 54 AMR V8 Vantage.
Well, if he can hang on to this position for Adam Brown, that would be his best finishing position. Even if he drops this place to Hewlett, contact between the two, and have I just jinxed it? There goes the Ferrari of Ronin, who laps himself, I think. No, he doesn't. He goes past the position. He's back down to P9, but I reckon Brown has the pace to catch up to that Ferrari, but a hard break for Brown. Could have had his best finishing position so far of 7th. It all goes to waste there, but this man has done everything he needed to do. Is going to go on to the white flag lap. Well, nothing more to say really. What a championship he's had, and well, this race just sums it up best, I think.
Yeah, he'll be the only 2-time race winner out of everybody, and it will be his 4th trip to the rostrum. He took a 3rd back at Brands Hatch just a week ago, was 2nd at Spa-Francorchamps round 2, and won the season opener at Misano as Lunatic Braga, the number 48 Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo 2, roars its way down the start-finish straight for the final time and heads into turn number 1. Adam Brown gunning for Nikita Ronin. The gap between them just about 9.5 tenths of a second. Ronin looks a little bit unsettled in that Ferrari, and that gap is coming down. That's less than half a second, I would gather, just by looking at the spatial differential between the two of them as they come across the intermediate. That is going to rapidly change very, very quickly. It's 0.34, probably not even that, as they go into turn number 10. Adam Brown looking to get his best finish of the season so far. Meanwhile, our leader is coming through turn 5. Lunatic Braga ahead of Adrien Ousselin with Stuart Pryor. Pryor, in the meantime, has started to close on Ousselin, so could we see a battle for second position? Timer hits 0. Brown swarming all over the back rear wing of Nikita Ronin in the dying stages as they come out of the 16th and final corner. Leader is over halfway through the lap. Now heads down to turn number 10. And as Dan said, it's been the performance of a champion as Brown and Ronin go into turn 1. But Lunatic Braga makes his way out of turn number 12. He's got the fastest lap of this race, a 1 minute 44.210. And with this victory, out of turn 14, out of turn 15, your Season 2 Stim Racing Collective Rookie Series champion with 135 points. It goes to Lunatic Braga, who does the Grand Chelem, takes pole position, fastest lap, and the race victory. Adrien Ousselin will secure 3rd in the championship standings, but well done to Stuart Pryor, your Season 2 runner-up. And look at how close he was. He could have gotten 2nd. He could have gotten 2nd at the flag. Stuart Pryor, 123 points. Adrien Ousselin, 116. So the top 3 in the championship make up the top 3 in the final race result of the season. Adam Brown still trying to get through on Nikita Ronin for that 8th position. Looks looks like the number 54 is trying everything in the playbook here, Dan, but Ronin still seems to be hanging on nicely.
Ronin has a couple more corners to go. Turn 13, 14, 15. And that run through 16 is going to tell if he has it or not. He gives it everything, does Brown, and a little bit too much, which is going to deny him from a seasonal best finishing position of 8th. Ronin takes that in the number 15 Ferrari. And Brown comes through in the 54 Aston Martin to complete this race.
Well, what can you say about it, Dan? Up until this point, we had 4 different race winners from 4 different races, and it came down to the wire. It was mainly about Lunatic Braga and Nicolas Pierrin. Pierrin dropped the ball, unfortunately. Braga was just absolutely unflappable in that race, and that is what made the difference. It just goes to show that as a rookie, if you are going for the title, you are going to have that added pressure. If you are the one that everyone's going to be battling against, coming in with a 5-point lead and then extending it quite nicely to a 12-point advantage to win the title, pick up pole position, fastest lap of the race, and win it after 17 laps. He was, as I said, I mean, he had a little bit of pressure at the beginning of the race, but he settled into rhythm, and that was all she wrote.
Yeah. So I think for the people at home, maybe good to have a little bit of a wrap up of the top 3. Lunatic Braga, your champion of Season 2, helped, of course, massively by Track Titan. All these drivers will have been. They've been improving massively throughout the season. Big part of that, of course, has been Track Titan, let's be honest. With all the data that they can review and that they get, of course, automated data that they get. So they do a lap, they get the data, look at it, and they can immediately see where they can go quicker. Which is amazing for the drivers, especially if you are a rookie. Second in the championship, Stuart Pryor. A good, consistent championship for him, I would say, Alex, and nothing more he could have done in this race, really. Maybe overtaken Adrian Ouslein, but was not quite close enough. And that man, Adrian Ouslein, also the driver who finishes 3rd in the championship.
Yeah. So that really wraps up Season 2 of the Sim Racing Collective Rookie Series from here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. Big thank you to Kieran from the Sim Racing Collective for all his efforts behind the scenes controlling all the cameras. Big thank you to Dan Pepels for being the co-commentator. Also, we had Kelsey a little bit earlier on this season. But a big thank you to you all for watching. Stay tuned to the Sim Racing Collective social medias as to when you might be able to join the Rookie Series and maybe get your shot at going for a title. My name's Alex Goldschmidt. Thank you very much for watching. Good night. See you again soon.